Morning. What is going on, everybody? It is me, Chavez, back with another NBA player prop live stream. Doing a couple of things differently today. Just adding some background music. Thought it'd be a nice little touch to the stream. Didn't really know how to do it. Figured it out. So if it's too loud or if it's drowning out the audio, leave me a comment, because on my end, I can't hear anything except nothing. I actually can't hear anything. So once I have the external mic plugged in, I can't hear any noise. So just wanted to add a little bit more to the stream. But welcome. Good morning. Happy Friday. Flex Friday, everybody. We're live. Hope everybody's doing well. Hope this video finds you in good spirits. Second cup of coffee. I was just chatting it up with Darrell in the chat. Darrell, I feel like I sent you the link to the Discord on a comment you left, but tag me, leave me a comment on my last video. That way I can reply to it and I'll send you the link to the Discord. It's in the video description. It should work. It should bring up the Discord and you sign in and everything. But in the event you can't sign in, just leave me a comment and I'll copy and paste the link. It should be all up to date though. And then once you're in the Discord, add me as a friend and then shoot me a DM and we can chat there about, whatever's on your mind, man. All right, let's do this. Again, coffee is important, vital part of the day. Hope everybody's doing well. Weird transition into Friday because we came off a 2-game slate in the NBA and the night ended pretty early. To be honest with you, if you want to be real, the Pelicans got laid out. That game was really suspect. That game was very suspect. I mean, this whole in-season tournament with the Lakers has been very suspect, with the questionable timeout the other night that saved the Lakers, and then this blowout. Like all of a sudden the Pelicans can't score. Like all of a sudden the Pelicans can't play D. Just weird, man. But the night was over pretty early and a lot of plays were not on the board. Kept checking back, and there was not a lot available enough to do a video last night. So we didn't do a video last night. Figured we wait until today for the live stream. So all the research we're doing in today's live stream is in the moment, super like raw, because there just wasn't a lot available, and I went to sleep. I sleep sometimes, so I was asleep probably as these plays were getting put on the board. I wish I had the power to stay up all night and not be, drowsy and groggy the next day, but I need my sleep. So wake up today. I see that there are plays on the board. Hopefully, as this live stream goes on, we can find some plays, build out a slip, and hopefully cash it out. Yesterday's slip did not work out. We talked about the Pelicans getting blown out. We had a lot of pieces from that game that didn't work out for us. The problem with the blowouts is oftentimes the team getting beat up doesn't hit value, and then the team doing the beating up sometimes doesn't hit value because they don't get their full run. I know people say that, hey, don't be afraid of the blowout, because if a team is blowing another team out, it's usually going to be the superstars that are doing the damage and they'll hit value. And that's not necessarily true. You can get a lot of role players stepping up. You can get a lot of bad, offense by a team and, just capitalizing on turnovers. It doesn't have to be superstars are kicking the shit out of another team. That doesn't always happen. Blowouts are terrible for everybody, and that's what we got yesterday. So unfortunately, our slip did not hit. Trey Murphy went over points barely. We had Obi Toppin go over his points and assists. Chris Boswell, what the hell? I thought this was supposed to be a low-scoring game. 31 points scored in that game. I mean, no, wait, 21 to 18, 39 points scored in that game. So almost 10 points over the total that was given to us. Not a whole lot of field goal kicking being done in that game. So that's a very good example of we can definitely do our research. We can definitely do everything in our power, but like once the game starts, we have no control over anything, and sometimes it doesn't go the way we thought it was going to go. And last night's Thursday night football game, prime example. Welcome in, everybody. I'm doing a lot of talking here, but hit that like button on your way in. We're going to get to some player props pretty soon here. Flex Friday means we're going to open it up to whatever you want in terms of player props. It doesn't have to be NBA. I know I have Anthony Edwards on this thumbnail. I just like the spot that he's in tonight. But NFL, we got Sunday NFL, obviously. NBA, obviously. Any hockey aficionados in this chat? I mean, props.cash pulls up all the stuff for all the sports, most of the sports, college basketball. We can dig into a few different things if you have a prop on your mind. It doesn't always have to be NBA. But, I mean, let's be honest. NBA is kind of like the big dog in the yard right now. So we'll always start with NBA just because it offers us the most upside. All right. So let's start off and let's recap our 3 plays from yesterday because I didn't get to do it and we didn't do a video last night. So Bruce Brown was the spoiler of the trio that we have that we gave out in the video, unfortunately. And Bruce Brown was getting the highest projections in terms, the highest hit rate when I was breaking these down and seeing, what was on the board. He finished with 4 rebounds and assists. And that's not going to get it done. The Pacers are super deep, man. And even though Bruce Brown starts, it doesn't necessarily mean he gets all the run. I mean, Rick Carlisle is just like running dudes out there. I mean, you have Nembhard, you have Mathurin, you have guys like Toppin and Buddy Hield, and then Bruce Brown. And you have a lot of guys. You have interchangeable parts in that team. So sometimes I think 1 or 2 of these dudes they're not going to hit their value because of that depth in Indiana. So Bruce Brown didn't go over. Halliburton went over. He went over by a lot. I was scared a little bit by the assists because double-digit assists, that's a lot. But man, he is always looking to get his teammates involved, and he goes with the game flow. If the game flow is not needing him to score, he's not going to force the shot. And last night, the game flow was allowing him to just facilitate and find the open man, and he did it. I think he had 7 assists at the half. So that one was looking really good from the start, and we didn't sweat that one at all. And then the third play, Brook Lopez, that one was fun, right? He started off the game 2 for 2 from 3, and he just scored 14 points. It was just a really strong night for him. Could have also looked at his fantasy points because I think he had 4 blocks in that game as well. So blocks are worth 3 points on Prize Picks. I don't know what his fantasy score was yesterday, but anytime you get 4 blocks, it doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt your fantasy output at all. So those are our 3 plays we talked about in the video. 2 and 1 on the day. So that's back-to-back days of 2 and 1. 4 and 2 in the past 2 days. That's good. It's not great. It's not perfect, but nothing is. So I'm happy with 4 and 2. I would be much happier with 6 and 0 or 5 and 1. But if you are mad about profit or if you're mad about winning, gotta correct that. So nothing wrong with a 4 and 2 day or 4 and 2 past 2 days. All right. I'm just going to pop back in here to the chat. Welcome in, everybody. Hit that like button on your way in. Truly means a lot, helping this channel get bigger every single day. All right. What's going on, Howard? Flowvent, hey, I'm new to Prize Picks, just trying to hear your research. I appreciate your content. Hey, I appreciate you stopping by, leaving a comment like that. Thank you so much. All right. So, as always, we're going to open this up to you all. Flowvent, I don't know if you've been on a live stream with me before, but live streams are pretty chill. I don't really have a script to go off of. I'm not really trying to like check boxes here, just really opening it up to the chat. I'm going to talk about player props. It doesn't always have to be NBA, especially on Flex Friday, especially now that they revamped the whole format where it doesn't have to be plays for that day. You can create a protected slip, you know, for the NFL slate on Sunday if you want to. So before, it used to be you had to play players from that day, which kind of sucked during the summertime when there were no games on Friday or with limited action. You're picking CSGO plays. So we got plenty of sports to choose from today. Shorty Smack, what's going on? My pick hit for y'all. Let's get it. What was your pick yesterday, man? What did you put in the chat? My bad. Good morning, fellas. What's going on, Howard? What's going on? It's all good. All right. Melly, what's good, Chavez? Been watching for a while. Very helpful. Love videos. Keep it up. Thank you. Appreciate that. Appreciate your support. Comment means a ton. Means a ton. All right. Let's get into some plays. Oh, actually, injury news. We haven't covered injury news in a couple of days because honestly, there was none. LeBron questionable is no news, but we have a ton of shit on this injury news. So, on this injury report. So, Jalen McDaniels is in. Okay, that helps us not that much. Probable is Kristaps Porzingis and Jamal Murray. Now, Kristaps being probable is news because he's been out. I think he had a calf injury, ankle injury. But he's been out for a few games, but he's probable, which is good. Questionable. The Celtics haven't played since their loss to the Pacers, which was on Tuesday, right? Monday, Tuesday? So they've been out for a few days. All right, questionable. Questionable is always going to offer the most names. Q tags are pretty abundant in the NBA. Trae Young, Evan Mobley, Malcolm Brogdon, Jordan Clarkson, Kelly O, Joe Harris, Isaac Suggs, Mark Williams, Gafford, McLaughlin, and Chris Duarte. Doubtful, DeAndre Ayton, Jake LaRavia, and then out. Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant's been ruled out for a few days. We knew he was going to be out. I think they announced this on Wednesday that he wouldn't be playing on Friday. Jalen Duren, Bam Adebayo, Lauri Markkanen, Lonnie Walker, Grant, LeVert, Allen, and Grant Williams. So if DeAndre Ayton doesn't get ruled in today, you got Jeremy Grant and DeAndre Ayton out. That opens up a lot of value for Jabari Walker. He should be in a good spot. Duop Reese should be in a good spot too. And if Brogdon doesn't play, then Shaedon Sharpe went off last game. So just some things to keep your eyes open for, be on the lookout for. I was mixing up the sayings there. Yeah, keep your eyes open for more news in the NBA with that. But I think the big news is the Portland news, just because you got 3 starters out. If Brogdon doesn't go, you got 3 starters out, and that's going to change the board a lot. You typically won't get those player props put on the board until later in the afternoon. But once those hit, you could be looking at some good lines for like rebounds or PRA or even some fantasy scores. So I always like when we have injury news like this because it does offer up some different plays. All right. Dub today. We need that dub, Shorty, for real. Leave a like. Yeah, Melio. Thank you. Leave a like on your way in. Anthony Edwards with 0.5 blocks. I'm thinking more. Any thoughts? I like a couple of his plays. Keenan, welcome in. Good morning. Points. A lot of his plays have really good odds, but the one that was really popping the most were his points. And I'm thinking because that's the lowest of the three out of his points and rebounds, PRA, and points. Also, they're playing the Grizz. So I guess there's a little concern if the Grizz can keep it close. And if they can't, then maybe that takes away some of his upside. However, I will say that I've watched games when the Wolves are up big, and those starters are in like with 5 minutes left in the game. They don't really get pulled out. They don't really have a mercy rule in Minnesota. I think they play their starters until they're done. But just because you're on the floor doesn't mean you're scoring, man. So Anthony Edwards could still be in the game when the game's out of hand and just kind of just be there. You would hope that he gets the over on his lines before all the damage is done, right? But in the event that Memphis can keep this relatively close, then hell yeah. I think Anthony Edwards is in a really good spot today versus the Memphis Grizzlies. All right. I'm just going to scroll up here and see what props y'all have on the board already. Let's see. Yeah, man, last night was terrible, Darrell. Last night was so bad. I mean, we kind of knew that Thursday Night Football wasn't going to offer a lot for us, but I did not see that ass whooping coming. By the way, did that arena look empty in Vegas? They had the lights dimmed down real low and they were like tinted purple or blue, but you can still see a lot of empty seats. I don't know. I don't think people are coming to Vegas to watch basketball. I think they're coming to Vegas to like gamble and drink and like hook up with prostitutes. Like, I don't think basketball is on the schedule for them. So I don't know if they had to like just make it look like that thing was full or pump in crowd noise or something. It kind of reminded me of the COVID days where they weren't playing in front of fans. It just seemed really fake in that arena for some reason. And that practice facility that they were shooting around, they kept showing that practice facility. It was just like an empty warehouse. I don't know. I wouldn't have shown that footage on TV for sure. All right, so we got Jalen Williams, 20.5 points and assists. Draymond Green, 15.5 points and assists. Got those two going. Randall's rebounds. Howard wants to check out Randall's rebounds at 8.5. 0.5 blocks, Anthony Edwards. Keenan wants to dig into that one. Let's see. Dude, Love, what's going on, man? Let's see. Regis will land less punches Saturday. Freebie. All right. Let's see. Cashed a 6-man last night. Thursday Night Football. Nice. I tell you what, we talked about Ezekiel Elliott's receiving yards. I didn't hate him after they got bumped. I just don't really like playing the bumps. And if you saw the original line at 12.5 and then they got bumped to 16.5, it just doesn't feel good. But shit, man, he got that done on the first drive. Another freebie was his touchdown prop with Jalen Warren, the combo touchdown prop. I put that in a slip. That was easy. That was so fast. So Ezekiel Elliott looked good in that offense. He didn't look like his old self. Like, it's just not gonna, he's just not the same dude. But it's when you're the only running back on the roster, basically, I mean, you should get a lot of touches, and he definitely took advantage of it. Let's see. Yeah, Bailey Zappi was on point yesterday. At least in the first half, he was. Did all his damage in the first half, and then the Patriots just kind of cruised, and Mitchell Trubisky just, I cannot believe that dude was ever a top pick and was like the face of the Bears franchise. That dude is awful. He's the worst, man. I I know he's better than the average guy throwing the football, but like how much though? He's not that good. All right, we got enough going on here to pull some plays up. So we're gonna head over to Prize Picks first, and I'm gonna share this tab. One play that I was looking at was Dennis Schroeder's assist, 6.5. If y'all haven't looked at that one, check that one out. I was also looking at his rebounds and assists at 9.5, and then it got bumped to 10. But I left it on the board because when he goes over by a lot. So very rarely does he just stop at 10, you know? So that was in play. Another one that I liked that got removed was Bojan Bogdanovic's assist at 2.5. And that one got taken off the board. And then Claxton's rebounds and assists were up at one point. They were up at one point. And I think it was at 10.5, which was, what the hell? He would get that on rebounds alone, more than likely. But his rebounds are still up at 9.5. And actually, a lot of his lines are popping because the Washington Wizards really offer no resistance to the bigs. Really don't offer any resistance to anybody. I mean, this should be a pretty high-scoring game between the Nets and the Wiz, but Claxton is in play for sure. So his plays, these two have already been bumped. PRA and points and rebounds got bumped. Points and assist and points are probably the two on the board. Well, rebounds, and I would say his rebounds and points are probably the ones that I like the most. Needs 13 points, needs 10 rebounds. That's 23, so that matches. So you're not really getting any value if you go the combined route. So if you wanted to split them up, you're not really getting any value if you just choose this one. Out of these two, I would say rebounds. I think he's a better rebounder than he is a scorer. I think he should get a lot of rebound opportunities tonight. So that was one. So those are the three that were on. Well, this is the one that was on my radar. And then the original Claxton prop that I like got removed. But this one is not bad also. All right, so let's see if I can remember this in order. So we got Randall, rebounds, got bumped up to 9, but it was at 8.5. We got Jalen Williams, PA, points and assist. Here we have Anthony Edwards, blocks, points too. So I said I liked his points at 24.5, and then you got his blocks, and then oh shit, we're already at 6. Let's take Schroeder out. Blocks, and then someone said under on his 3-pointers. So I don't have enough spaces available for this, but we'll look up everything at once. So we got a few for Anthony Edwards. We have one for Randall, one for Jalen Williams, and then we'll look up the Schroeder. Look up Schroeder Magruder as well. All right. I'm just going to be popping back into, so Zaire, you under 2.5 threes. Welcome in. Israel, what's going on? I'm looking at Kuzma PRA. This man never went over his PRA against Brooklyn. Kuzma was working for me really well at the beginning of the year. And then I just started getting them in really bad spots. And he's usually good for the over, honestly, on a lot of his props, just because the Wizards are so bad. But the last few times I've taken him, I don't know, just off shooting night or just no rebound. So we got Kuzma PRA. Let's see. Drewski Hayes under rebound. Killian Hayes under rebounds. What's his rebound line, Drewski? Welcome in, by the way. Thank you. Shorty Isaiah Stewart under 8, plus Harrison Barnes over 10, plus Mike Conley over 2.5 assists. These are all good values. 3.5 for Hayes. All right. Sengun points and assists. All right. Let's get cracking. So I already have Anthony Edwards pulled up here. So we'll start with AE. AE? Does anybody call him AE? No. I don't know why I called him AE. Anthony Edwards, 24.5 points, minus 120 over, 102 under, projected for 25, almost 26 points. Gone over this against Memphis in 3 out of his last games, but he is 0 for 1 this season, hooked it at 24. Now, I will say, when you look at these game logs, just because you see a hook or a line where he didn't go under, or any player, it doesn't mean he didn't go over the original point prop, if that makes sense. So it's very, very likely that this was not set to 24.5 during this game. It's possible that this line was set at 23.5 and he actually went over that, which would put him at 4 games. But these games, this line will adjust to the current prop. So sometimes when you look at the game logs, it looks like a player is 0 for 4 or 1 for 3, but they could have very well gone over that line. It's just that line keeps moving as the prop keeps moving. So this doesn't mean that he had a bad game at all. But for today's line, he needs 25, and so it's going to show that he hasn't gotten that in the last 2 meetings with the Grizzlies. Over his last 5, again, so very likely he why is it only okay that he over this one, but I don't think you'll ever see Anthony Edwards points at 21.5 or 17.5. So it's likely he did definitely go under in these 2 games. So back-to-back games, he's actually gone under. Over his last 10 games, he's gone over that line in 3 out of 10. So doesn't look really good in terms of his 5 and 10 game logs. Sometimes you have to also factor in the opponent, because sometimes players don't get their run, or even if they're getting their run, they're not putting up shots because the game is already out of hand. Like this game against San Antonio, man, I don't care who you are, going 4 for 17 from the field will never get you over on a point prop. I mean, you'd have to shoot a shit ton of free throws. I mean, that's 8 points right there. How many threes did he hit? That's 10 points right there that he scored. I mean, he would need like 10 plus free throws. So anyway, I think he's in a good spot versus Memphis, who does give up production across the board. I know this looks scary because they're top 10 in terms of points allowed. They're defending the points well, I guess. But we're not asking Anthony Edwards to score 112 points. We're asking him to score 25, which is possible. Good projections, good odds. I like the over on this one. So I think this one's in a good spot. Somebody asked about his 3-pointers made. Taking the under. Minus 120 to go under on this one. 102 to go over. So this one is in a good spot for the under. Projections don't align with the odds. In this situation, in this scenario, we'll side with the odds, because the odds are a stronger indicator of a player's performance versus projections. It's nice when they both align, but if I had to choose one, it's always going to be the odds, because that's the stronger of the two. And then if you want to take a look at his last 10, he's gone over. He's hit 3 or more 3-point shots in 4 out of 10. And he's gotten it 2 out of 5. If you are interested in what he's done versus the Grizzlies, he didn't get it done last game. So how many attempts is he taking? He has taken 4 over his last 5 versus the Grizzlies. And then let's just take a look at his last 10. Over his last 10 games, he's averaging 7 3-point. So he's not averaging a lot versus the Grizzlies, but he is taking 7 against everyone else. So that definitely works in our favor. If he's not attempting a ton of 3-pointers, you can't make a ton of 3-pointers. So this one looks pretty solid. And then his blocks at 0.5, minus 119 on the under, minus 110 on the over. So slight juice to the under here. We can take a look at projections. Projected for 0.66. So on these decimal types of projections, it's physically impossible to get 0.66 block or 0.5 block in a game. So what I'm looking for here is anything over 0.5, because anything that's going to get me closer to 1, so that you can confidently say, okay, that's closer to going over. Or if this was at a 0.48, I would say that's closer to 0 than it is 1. I'm going to go under on this one. So at 0.66, it is closer to 1, but you are getting some funny odds here in terms of the over and under. So that's his block right there. So block, points, and we looked at his 3-pointers made for Anthony Edwards. Julius Randle. Man, I feel like the Knicks and the Celtics play like every week. It's like their 4th game already. So we're looking at his rebounds, but they got bumped up to 9. But we had it at 8.5. Got bumped up to 9. It's sitting at 9.5 on props.cash. And it's sitting at 9.5 on FanDuel and PointsBet. So other books do have this higher. So you're still getting it at a lower line on Prize Picks than you are other books. Over his last 10 games, 5 games over, 5 games under. And then over his last 5 games, he's gone over 3 times in 5 games. Versus the Celtics, he's pushed in 4 games, gone over in 1 game, and under in 1 game. They've only played twice this season. That's bullshit. I feel like they played like 5 times already. All right, 2 games they played, 11 and 9. He's averaging 10, but he's hooked it in 1. If that makes sense. So this one is still in a good spot, but you definitely need him to get 10 rebounds to go over this line. If you got it at 8.5, then I would feel really good about this one, because I feel like 9 is his average basically. So this one looks strong if you got it at 8.5. I wouldn't be scared off by it at 9, but definitely better value at the lower line at 8.5. All right, Jalen Williams was the one. The next one I remember. Jalen Williams over points and assists. Let's check that out. All right. So this is at 19.5 on Prize Picks, correct? Anthony Edwards' line just got bumped up to 25 points. Bitch. It's been on the board for a while. I'm not even mad about it. It's been on the board for a while. 20.5 PA for Jalen. So this is set correctly. 108 on the over, minus 108 on the over, minus 102 on the under. Over his last 6 games versus the Warriors, he's gone over in 5 out of 6. So positive history versus the Warriors. Last 3 games. They literally play every week. Over his last 3 games against the Warriors, he's gone over this. Let's take a look at his last 10. I bet he wishes he played the Warriors every day, because he goes over his lines in every game they play. Over his last 10, he's gone over 5, so 50% hit rate. And then over his last 5, he's gone over in 3. One of those games being against the Warriors back on the 18th of November. Projections have this slightly over. So the projections match the odds. Slight juice on the over, slight over on the projections. So that's a pretty tight line there, but it's still going over. So he definitely needs to get you 21 PA. Good news in it every time, basically, against the Warriors. So this one is in a good spot also. Points, even money on his points at 17.5, minus 130 on his rebounds, under 4.5. I don't even know if that line's on Prize Picks. And then that's funny though, because his points and assists are getting good numbers, but his assists are getting terrible odds. So that tells you that the majority of his PA is coming from points. This is also telling you that because you're getting even money on his points and you're getting favorable odds on his points and assist, that his points are in play as well. Because if his assists are projected to go under, but his PA is over, how is that happening without him scoring 18 plus points? So 18 points for Jalen Williams could be in play. So Jalen Williams, Randall, we looked up Edwards. Who else was there? Let me go back to Prize Picks real quick. Yeah, Edwards, Jalen, Randall. All right, so as of now, this is what I'm thinking with these current plays on this screen. I want some unders. Unders are super scary to take, but I mean, they're in play. Not everybody goes over. So all of these so far, based off what we looked on props.cash, are in play for the over. Welcome everybody. Welcome in. I'm just popping back into the chat. So we're just currently going over player props. We already recapped our plays from yesterday. Went over some injury news as well. So if you are just joining us, welcome in. Appreciate you being here. Hit that like button on your way in. Really, really appreciate that. I'm just scrolling back up on the chat to see what we have in terms of any additional requests. Let's see. We left off at Kuzma. Israel, Kuzma, PRA. Zeke was a lock. Najee receiving yards was a lock. Pickens receiving yards was a lock. Or receptions was a lock. Yeah. Nice. Melly. Gordon Hayward, I'm not going to lie. I like him today. I hate... for video plays, I hate rolling the same player back out there because I like to change it up. I like to just present different props. But behind the scenes, when I'm creating my own slips, I don't mind going back to the guy that, didn't hit for me the night before or whatever. And his rebounds, once again, are getting really good odds on the over. So it's super hard. It's super hard to ignore those numbers if you play the math. So Gordon Hayward's in play. I just didn't want to present him on a video because it's like this dude again. I just like to keep things, different here. So Schroeder would be good against Charlotte. What about his PRA? We can take a look at his PRA, dude. So we got Kuzma PRA, Schroeder PRA, Drewski. Damn, Hayes boards. Okay. Hayes and his rebound. All right. We're going to leave off at Drewski's question about Killian Hayes on the boards. So we'll start with him because you did put that in the chat and I just didn't I just forgot. So Killian Hayes rebounds. What's going on with Killian Hayes? I don't know. Was his summer really good for him? Did he just, I don't know, what did he change? His diet or something? He's much, much better this season. He's just playable this season. Last year he was not doing so hot. And that game in France where he was like over 10 or something, that was really embarrassing. He looks like a better player. That's it. Sometimes these guys just the switch, clicks, it goes off and they take things more seriously. I don't know. But he definitely does look better this season, no doubt. So Killian Hayes rebounds, 3.5. Minus 125 on the under. 106 on the over. Rebound set to 3.48. So even the projections have him going under, closer to 3 than it is 4. Versus the Orlando Magic. 0 for 3 his last 3 games. 3 out of his last 5. 3 out of his last 10. So what else do we have for Killian Hayes? Maybe there's another line you can look at. But just based off the math and the odds, that one is set to go under. Assist. also on the under. I think it's the matchup. The matchup is terrible. Orlando presents a terrible matchup for everybody because they're slow and they're sound on defense. They don't give up a lot of production, and it's just not a good game environment for like high upside plays. PRA looks better in terms of the odds for Killian Hayes. Points and assists, 14.5. At least that's what it shows here. PR, slight juice on the over as well. And then his rebounds and assists. I don't even know if this is on the board over on Prize Picks, Drewski, but rebounds and assists at 7.5 looks really strong. It's probably the strongest play out of all his lines. It's also, there's no projections for this one, unfortunately, but if we look at these two, it's 4 assists, 3.48, which puts him right at 7.5. So it's like really, really tight line there. But I think Killian Hayes is in a spot for his rebounds and assists. Also his fantasy points, because of this shit. Once the fantasy points drop, I don't know if they're on damn it, I just realized I wasn't sharing my tab. Sorry guys. Rebounds, Killian Hayes. This is what I was looking at. Sorry. Assist, PRA. PRA is better odds. Rebounds and assists, like I said, offers the most upside, -118 to go over. So if this is available on Prize Picks, this one looks like the best play out of all his lines. I was going to look up his fantasy score. Fantasy scores are not available at the moment, but guys like Killian Hayes and Jalen Suggs, unless they get, are usually good for fantasy scores because we'll typically get them at a lower line, like anywhere between 20 and 22.5 or something like that. And they tend to rack up steals and blocks, which is what you want with fantasy scores. If you don't have a player who scores a lot of points, you need them to make it up in another area like steals and blocks. So Killian Hayes, I think his fantasy score is in play. I just don't know what it's going to be. But I would assume versus the Magic, it's going to be on the lower side because, again, the Magic do not present an easy matchup. So Killian Hayes, I think fantasy, RA, and then PRA. But again, his rebounds getting pretty bad odds here, -125 on the under for Killian Hayes. Damn, I can't believe I went all that way and broke all that shit down and the screen wasn't showing. I'm glad I caught it though. All right, let's go. Kuzma. PRA. I need to double check what it is over on Prize Picks. So I'm just going to pull that up real quick. 34.5 on Prize Picks. So it is the same number on Props.cash. PRA for Kuzma projected 33.8. So projections do align with the odds, slight juice on the under. But this game environment is friendlier than the Orlando Detroit game environment. So Kuzma over his last 10 is not getting it done. On the year, Kuzma has a 40% hit rate. Over his last 10, he has a 30% hit rate. So I think it's important that you kind of take a step back and look at the season versus the last 10, because the season is the true percentage, and that's what we'll always fall back on. So if you have a player that's underperforming, you would expect that there is some regression to the average, the season average. Just like if a player was like playing over his head, at some point that needs to come back down. It will come back down to what we've been seeing over the course of the season. So when I look at Kuzma and say over his last 10, it's at 30% hit rate, and over his last 5, it's at 20, but his season average is at 40%. at some point, this needs to spike back up, right? At some point, 26 PRA is not going to get it done. Like, it's just going to improve. So Kuzma's matchup with the Nets offers a friendlier matchup. They are 20th in the league in points allowed, 13th in the league in rebounds allowed, doing a really good job of not allowing a ton of assists, but they are giving up quite a few threes per game, made threes per game, 25th in the association, giving up 14 threes per game. The percentage is low. So the 3-point percentage is low, but the 3-point makes are high. So that's telling me that they're allowing a lot of three-point attempts as well. And I think Kuzma, he's taken a few threes before in his career. I mean, he's been known to like take a 3 or 2 here and there. So Kuzma's PRA, though the odds don't really look good, I mean, they're not terrible because you're still getting like minus on both ends. And then you do want to factor in the matchup. The matchup with the Nets is this game should be fun to watch, or fun to track at least. They should score a fair amount of points today. All right, so you got Kuzma, Stewart, 8 rebounds. Harrison Barnes, 10.5 points. Conley over 2 assists. Sengun points, assist. What's going on, Dwayne? Welcome in, sir. Who else we got in here? Lil Bud. What's going on, Lil Bud? Let's see. Suggs is out today. Well, he was questionable on the injury report, but he's out. Israel says Suggs is out. Let's see. OG, 18.5. Yeah, Keenan, my bad. I'm over there talking about all this stuff and the screen wasn't even pulled up. Let's see here. All right, let me go back up. I just want to try to get some of these in order. I'm not bouncing around all over the place. So we left off at Killian Hayes rebounds. Let's see. Sengun points and assist. And then Tobias Harris points and rebounds. So Sengun points and assist. Rockets and the Nuggets. This one is being played in Denver. We got Sengun's points and assist at 26.5 over on props.cash. When you're posting player props in the chat, put the number you're seeing on Prize Picks, so that way when I pull it up on props.cash, I'll know if it's the same, and that way I can adjust these lines if I need to. That way we're getting the most accurate information. So Sengun 26 points and assists. If it's the same on Prize Picks, then this is getting slight juice to the over. 3 out of his last 5 games, he's gone over this. And then over his last 10, he has a 70% hit rate. His head-to-head matchups with Denver this season have been pretty good. 2 out of his last 3 times these two teams have met, he's gone over this. So 2 out of 3 games so far with 28, 29, and he did hook it at 26. You would need to go back into the game logs, or actually, I don't know, we would not be able to pull up what this line was on this date. But again, it's very possible that this may have been set to like 25 or 25.5 or something like that, which would put him on the over. So that would make it 3 games in a row. But based off this current line, it's going to show that he hooked it. We know Denver's defense is really strong, but we also know that Sengun plays Denver very well. And we also know that Jokic plays Houston very well. So on the other side, you have some options in terms of Jokic and his lines. Unfortunately, no projections are showing on props.cash. That's fine. I think the odds are in favor of the over on, just a little bit. We'll quickly go through his other lines so that You could see what that looks like over his last 5 games. Rebounds look strong at 8.5. I'm sure that got bumped up to 9 already. If not, then it's still in play at 8.5. 9 is still in play. He just needs 10 at that point. Assists are in play at 4.5. If you can grab this at 4.5, this also looks very good. And then his PRA at 104 over. So slight juice on the under here. So PR, RA, PA. Out of all these lines, his assist offers the most upside. And then you can look to his PA. And then maybe his rebounds and assist. So if we pull up Sengun over on Prize Picks, rebounds are still there at 8.5. Rebounds and assists are there at 13.5. Yeah, his assists are at 5. So Sengun's in a good spot for sure. Points and assist, 26.5. So there's Sengun, points and assists. I think that's going to be a fun game. Denver and Houston. I don't know what's gotten into Houston. I do know what's gotten into Houston. New coach. That makes all the difference. New coach. You got some adults in the locker room now, and Fred VanVleet and Dylan Brooks. I mean, you just had like a team full of teenagers last year, and now you got some grown-ups in the locker room that are probably like putting shit on lock. So they're actually looking like a legitimate team this season, which is nice for the league. All right, let's see here. Talked about Kuzma, OG 18.5. Derek White points at 13. What's going on, Javier? Welcome in. Let's get this Flex Friday. Relentless. Welcome in. Appreciate you stopping by. ATM, take ankles. Harden points and assists. Welcome in. Let's see. We're going to go in order. So we got Draymond at 15.5. Derek White points. OG 18.5 points. So let's start in Boston with Derek White. Points. So it's at 13.5 on price on props.cash. Projections at 15. 5 for 5 over his last 5 games. And 6 for 10 out of his last 10. Head-to-head matchup with the Knicks does not offer as much optimism. Goes cold against the Knicks. Don't know why, but that's his game logs versus the Knicks. But projections are slightly over this. However, the odds are on the under. So if you're hell-bent on playing Derek White, at 13 points, you're still getting it at a lower line than what some of the other books have it at, but it's just not pulling in a lot of positive odds. His assists were, I don't know if it's still at 4.5. His PRA looks better than just his points. Nothing really else standing out. Sometimes you can get a good line on his 3-pointers. And also you can get sometimes a good line on his steals and blocks if those are available. So Derek White, although he's been crushing it his last 5 and 10 games, against the Knicks, he just I'm not sure what's going on in those games, but he just doesn't seem to have it in those games. Knicks are also a very tough matchup too. So yeah, Knicks are not an easy team to play against. OG Anunoby. 18.5. What was it? Points and rebounds? OG Anunoby. Points and rebounds, wasn't it? We'll look up all his stats. 15.5 for Green. I just want to make sure. Yeah, 18.5 PR. All right. Minus 117 on the over, minus 106 on the under. We got 4 games versus the Charlotte Hornets where he has crushed this, but that was last season. So we'll need to skip on over to his last 10. Yeesh. 2 out of his last 10 games, he's gone over this. 1 out of his last 5. Projections look strong on his PR at 18.71. So they do correlate with the odds here, but I think the bigger positive here is his matchup with the Hornets, who give up the league worst in pretty much every offensive category here. Points, assists, giving up a ton of rebounds, a lot of 3-point production as well. So I think all the Toronto Raptors are in play based off just the opponent. But in terms of what the odds are telling us, it's really not telling us to take the over on his it's not telling us to like slam that over. You can play the over because you're still getting positive odds, but you're still getting minus 106 on the other side. I don't know why these Raptors aren't popping more. I don't know if blowout is being factored into some of these odds, but I would assume based off this matchup that he would just have stronger odds, especially when you see that. So that's a little weird. That's a little weird to see for OG, but that's what his lines look like. Those are what his odds look like versus the Charlotte Hornets. We're gonna head on down to the Golden State and Thunder game. Draymond Green, was it points and assists, points and rebounds? Each one of them is set to 16.5, so you're getting identical lines here. You're getting better numbers for his points and assists, but points and rebounds are also still in play. In terms of his PRA, even money basically on this one, so this one is in play. If Draymond can keep knocking down 4 threes a game, I would hammer the over on his points every game. That was so weird to see him just knock down so many threes. All that was against Oklahoma City. Over his last 10, he's gone over this in 5 games. Over his last 10, he's gone over rebounds in 4 out of those 10 games. Assist 4, PRA a lot. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times over his last 10. We'll get down to the PA. 5 out of his last 10. 6 out of his last 10 when it comes to his points and rebounds. So if you're looking at his points and assists, points and rebounds, and then against OKC, he plays this team really well. So points and rebounds look very strong, as do his points and assists. So Draymond Green is in play. Draymond Green is definitely in play. All right, so Draymond Green, let's see. Scrolling all the way down. Let's see. Where do we leave off? Did OG, did Green, Derek White. We got to Derek White. What else? I skipped over yours, Shorty. Which one was yours? Thought I got them all. Post it again. I thought I got yours. Harrison Barnes, 10.5 points. Jalen Brunson, 8.5 rebounds and assists. Davion, what's going on? Welcome in. All right. Where do we leave off? Harden points. I thought I saw Miles Bridges request in here, or was I not? Am I tripping here? Damn. I guess I am tripping. I thought I saw Miles Bridges. There it is. Miles Bridges over 9.5 rebounds and assists from Dwayne. All right, so got Miles Bridges. I skipped over Dwayne's. Got Miles Bridges and Harden, 24.5 PRA. Miles Bridges. So we're going back to Charlotte. Miles Bridges, 9.5 RA. So weird when it doesn't pull up. There it is. All right, so I guess he doesn't have any head-to-head matchups to look at versus the Raptors. But over his last 10, he's gone over this in 4 out of 10 games. Over his last 5, he's only gone over this twice. Still getting very positive odds here. Minus 130 on the over, 105 on the under. And then rebounds and assists. Projected to go over, but these don't really match what the odds are telling you. The odds are telling you this is minus 130 to go over, which is like closer to 11, but this one has it slightly over 9.5. So I would feel really good about this play just because of the odds. And then you're also getting slightly favorable projections. Toronto's defense is not the easiest matchup, but we've definitely seen worse matchups. So yellow is better than red. Green is better than yellow. So Miles Bridges is in a nice spot here. 2.5 assists also look good, but his numbers over his last 5 games don't. Numbers over his last 4, better. No head-to-head matchup here. In terms of his projections, they are projected to go closer to 3 than they are to 2. So Miles Bridges assist and Miles Bridges RA look pretty good. Those are some pretty good odds there. James Harden PRA, 106 on the under, 117 on the over. One game to speak of versus the Jazz, but that was last season, so that was in Philly. Over his last 5 games, Harden has hit this in 3 out of 5 games, and then over his last 10, he's hit this in 5 out of those games. On the year, he's averaging 33% hit rate, but I think it's really important to remember Harden, once he got to LA, you know, he wasn't just like resuming his role that was in Philly. So there was some like warming up there for him to do and getting used to the team and all that shit. And it does matter. And then once he got acclimated, we saw his performance improve. So a lot of these games at the beginning of this chart are, I think you should just put that asterisk beside those games. So I think it's last 5 and last 10 will give you the more clear picture of what James Harden is capable of doing versus the season. As the season wears on, this average will improve for sure. But as of now, it looks like, you know, the average, it looks like he's playing over his head a little bit, which I don't think he is. I think he's right where he needs to be in terms of his PRA production. So Harden's PRA does look pretty strong. Utah's defense is a bad defense, and Harden is in a good spot to take advantage of that for sure. All right. What's going on, everybody? Welcome in. Hit that like button on your way in. We're just answering questions. We're going over player props using props.cash. I'm trying my best to get to as many of these as I possibly can. If I miss yours, hey, listen, if I miss your play on the stream, all the more reason to hit me up in the Discord. We also have the props.cash bot in the Discord. So you can actually search a prop in the Discord and it'll pull up the 5-game logs. It won't give you detail, but it does give you an idea. It's better than like a guess in the shot in the dark. So check that out too if you're over in the Discord. All right, let's see. Got Miles Bridges down. Oh, sorry, Melly. It was too good of a prop. It took his assist down. Mike Conley points and assists. Let's see. Mike Conley points and assists. Karl Anthony Towns rebounds and assists. I just want to make sure I didn't miss anybody's. Brunson 8.5 rebounds and assists. Brunson, 8.5 rebounds and assists. Jimmy Butler PRA. Let's do Jimmy Butler's PRA because that's a game earlier in the day. And then we'll do Brunson's rebounds and assists. So Jimmy Butler PRA. Miami versus Cleveland. Ugh. Just like, it's a bad game environment. Just you got two good teams, good defenses, just like a slugfest. These are like the equivalent of the AFC North battles between the Browns and the Steelers, or the Steelers and the Bengals or something. So, all right, 35.5 PRA for Jimmy. If it's under 35.5 on Prize Picks, then you're getting it at a better line. Projections today right at 34.45. So they do have them going under, but the projections do not align with the odds. You're getting more juice on the over than you are on the under. So think about that. Over his last 10, he's hit this in 4 out of 10 games. And then again, over his last 5, 2 out of 5. Versus the Cavaliers, one game to speak of this year, he did not go over this by a huge amount, actually. He missed this by over 10. So you'll need to dig into that game to figure out what happened in that game. But we all know what his minutes were low. Possibly blowout on either end. He only took 12 shots. That's below his season average of 15 or 14.5. So barring any stupid thing like that, low minutes or blowout, Jimmy's in a good spot. Jimmy's always in a good spot. PRA, RA is another one you can always look at. Sometimes those get juiced up. Jimmy's always scary though when you play his lines. I mentioned this in a previous video. His rotations are, at least the last time I dug into this, pretty much plays the entire first quarter, sits out half the second quarter. He starts the third quarter, and then he doesn't come in until the last 6 minutes of the fourth quarter. There's a lot of dead time, and usually when he's on the bench, that's when Duncan Robinson or Tyler Hero would kind of take that role. So if you play his line and he's not where you need him to be, just know that he does sit a lot. He's just super productive when he's on the floor. So he does make up for lost time. So Jimmy Butler's PRA looks to be the best prop in terms of odds for him today. There used to be a time we could play his steals and blocks. Prize Picks would always have this up, and you would always take the over because he's just a menace on defense. But sometimes they don't put that up because it's just too easy of an over. All right, Jalen Brunson, Boston, New York. Let's take a look at this. 8.5 rebounds and assists. Got 3 out of those 5 games he's gone over. Against Boston. That is Boston. So 3 out of 5 games. Okay, over his last 5 games. Yeah. 5 straight games he's gone over this line. 80% of the last 10 games he's gone over this line. I'm curious why you like this line. He's only gone over this 80% of the time over his last 10 games. He's only gone over this 100% of the time over his last 5 games. He only plays Boston really well. Why do you like this line? RA looks really good for Brunson. I wouldn't even mind it at 9 if it got bumped up based off what I'm looking at here. PR doesn't look as good. PA slightly better in terms of odds. Assists are in play, but not today, according to the odds. His rebounds, not today. And then his points at 25.5 don't look all that great. At 24, probably better if you can find it at 24. PRA projection sitting at 35.44, and then his RA projection sitting at 10.7. So you're getting good odds, good projections there for Jalen Brunson Burner. All right, Buddha Vendetta, what's going on? I'm a Heat fan. I'm taking his PRA under. All right. Yeah, man. The Miami rotation is like, I guess you have to pay close attention to those games, because Jimmy is one of those guys that if he's not needed on the floor, there's so much trust in the other guys. And now they're starting to build up. Like, they're starting to replace the pieces they lost last season with Strus leaving and Gabe Vincent leaving. And now that Caleb Martin's healthy, guys like Jaquez Jr., those guys are just they're just gonna slide into those vacancies. And so as that team starts to get more experience together, that's perfect for Jimmy, because Jimmy doesn't want to play 40 minutes a game. So and if he's not on the court, it's real hard for him to go over his line. So I could definitely see your logic in going under on Jimmy. All right, what I miss? Robinson 20.5 PRA. We're already on the Miami game. We can look at that one. Conley. Damn, my bad. I keep forgetting about Mike Conley and Curry, PRA. So we're already where we were. Duncan Robinson, PRA. $20.5. It's getting -110 odds on the under. So slight juice on the under. Projections are favoring the under heavily. His matchups with Cleveland so far this year have not been good. His last 10 games have been incredible. 70%, and then over his last 5, only 40%. Cleveland's a really tough matchup. Duncan Robinson's PRA, you can go either way. You might go under on this one based off the math here. Yeah. Points look better. If you just wanted to take his points, that looks a little better than PRA. Little better. All right, Curry. Where we at? There we go. Curry PRA. I have not been on Stephen Curry this season that much. Just different team. Just a different product this year for the Golden State Warriors. We're starting to see them slow down a little bit. I mean, they're not a bad team by any means, but they're different this year. Curry, 37.5 PRA. That's what it's showing on props.cash. 3 out of his last 5 games, 50% on his last 10 games. But against the Thunder, we talked about this with Draymond, plays the Thunder very well. 1 for 2 in 2 games this season versus them, but overall his last 5 games look like that. 4 out of 5. Favorable odds here, favoring the over. And then his PRA does not align with what the odds are saying. So the odds are saying -115 on the over, so that's a minimum of 38. But his PRA is below that by 1.331. So he's in a good spot. I think the matchup for him is a good one. He's taken advantage of this before. On his individual lines, points look fine. 29 points is still a lot of points for anybody, but for Steph Curry versus the Thunder, it's in play. I doubt his rebounds are on Prize Picks at that. And assists are probably not there anymore, or weren't there to begin with. 3-pointers, he needs 5. I don't really like that one. So PRA looks good. I think PRA is a good one if you were going to play that over. More data supports the over than it does the under. for sure. Let's see. Hog Fishing. What's going on? Welcome in. Shay at 30.5. What about Duncan Robinson PRA? Just talked about Duncan Robinson's PRA, Xavier. Welcome in. Doesn't look good. The matchup versus Cleveland is not a good one. He's 0 for 2, I think, against Cleveland this season, despite what his 10-game log looks like. 80% over his last 10 games, I think. But against Cleveland, he's 0 for 2. We also talked about Jimmy Butler's PRA. Just it's a tough matchup. It doesn't present a lot of upside, not a high tempo game. So yeah, Duncan Robinson and Jimmy Butler, we covered those. For the Heat, just covered Curry, Mark Williams, points plus assists at 12.5. Shorty. Let's see. Davion, that's a good point. With Bam sitting out, Jimmy would benefit. It's possible. Let's see. So if we go back to Duncan Robinson, let's go over his last 10, because if we come down here, let's remember this. So Duncan Robinson is performing very well over his last 10 games, but let's take Bam out. And this is what Duncan Robinson has done without Bam Adebayo in the lineup over the last 10 games. When Bam is out, he's gone over this in 2 games. But these 2 games are this season. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4 games this season. He's played without Bam. He's gone over 2 out of 4 games. One of those games was against Cleveland, and he only put up 12 PRA. That's without Bam in the lineup. And then let's take a look at Jimmy Butler, also without Bam in the lineup. So here's his 10 games, PRA, 4 out of 10 games. We're going to remove Bam from the lineup, and that looks slightly better. So 2 goes from 2 games to 4. The games we want to look at are these games here, though. So in the last 4 games this season without Bam in the lineup, Jimmy's only gone over this line 1 time. Against Cleveland, he had 23. So the Bam usually, I think when a player is out, will make a huge difference. But in this case, it doesn't really seem to swing the odds in favor of the over any more than it already is. So without Bam in the lineup, Jimmy's not like going into, Hemi mode. So just wanted to show you that, because it is important to make sure that we are factoring in the injuries. But most of the time when you see these odds, that news is already baked in. It's very rare that you get the jump on the books. Like, those dudes are very smart. Those dudes and dudettes are very smart at making lines. So when these lines are presented to you, pretty much everything they already know. They probably know more than us. Obviously they do. But a player at home, when they play on Wednesday nights, after they eat a taco dinner, they perform like this. The books know all that shit. I think it's already baked into the odds most of the time. So yeah, without Bam in a lineup, it doesn't really look like Jimmy or Duncan are like taking on a larger role in terms of the PRA production. Mike Conley. Damn it, Darrell. I'm on it. Mike Conley. At one point, this dude was the highest paid player in the NBA. At least the highest paid point guard. He signed the largest contract in NBA history for that time. Mike Conley. That was in the Memphis days. That was it at the Grindhouse with Randolph and Gasol. He's still kicking though. He's still kicking. All right, we're gonna run through for Darrell. We're gonna run through all Conley's lines because that took so long to get to him. Mike Conley, 11.5 points, minus 115 on the over, slight juice on the over, but doesn't look like anything special in terms of the odds. Projected for 13, so if you wanted to consider his points, they're in play based off projections and slight juice on the over. Rebounds look better, but if you get this at 2.5, usually a line this low probably isn't on Prize Picks, but if you can find it, that's a strong one. Minus 120 projected for 3. Minus 130 on his assist. That's interesting because he has been crushing his assist over his last 10 games with a 6.9 average, 60% hit rate. He is projected for slightly under that, so closer to 6 than it is 6.5. But again, all the information is baked into the odds. There's a reason it's minus 130. They see this too. Like, they see all the game logs that we see too, and they still feel that it's under. So that's interesting. Even money on his PRA, 21.5 PRA for Mike Conley, projected for 23.25 over here. 3 out of his last 10 games, he's gone over this. Most of the games he's in, he's living in that 17 to 19 range. He's living comfortably here. He's balling out over here. He's modestly living in this area most of the time. Points and assists under PR. Closer to even on his PR. RA, minus 140. Interesting. I don't know what's factoring into this. The matchup is prime. But in his head-to-head matchups, one game this season, he's gone over. So again, this doesn't look great, but this is the one game that I feel holds importance in this game log because it's this season. Over, 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 and over. So in every major statistical category versus the Grizzlies this season, he's gone over, yet the odds are not in favor of the over. So I don't know why. But that's my Conley breakdown, A through Z. All right. Let's see what else we got. How many points for Duncan without Bam in the lineup? Daniel, welcome in. Appreciate you being here. I don't know. Like, if you're asking me what I think, how many points he scores or what he's propped at. It's projected for 14 on the dot. His line is 14.5. At least that's what it's showing on props.cash. We've taken Bam out the lineup, and Duncan Robinson really doesn't really do a lot in terms of his PRA. When we take Bam out the lineup, that's Bam out the lineup. That's his PRA. 2 out of the last 10 games, Bam has been absent. Duncan has gone over only 2 games. However, his points over his last 10 with Bam out, slightly better, but still 3 out of 10 games is only 30%. So upside of 21, downside of 5. This game against Cleveland was played without Bam. Back on November 22nd, he only scored 7 points without Bam in the lineup. So you would think he'd be in a better spot without Bam because that opens up a lot of usage, but for some reason, it's not showing up on the game logs. Mark Williams. Appreciate y'all being here. Really do. Really enjoy these live streams. Super fun. I could do this shit all day long. Hit that like button on your way in too. If you didn't like the content, if you're leaving early, hit that like button twice on your way out. All right. Mark Williams, Charlotte Hornets. What are we looking at from Mark Will? Let's just run through it all. Points. Ugh. Are they at 12.5? Really? Just so you're seeing what I'm seeing here. Mark Williams, 12 points. You're getting at a lower line over on Prize Picks. Mark Williams rebound set to 9.5 on Prize Picks. It is accurate over on props.cash. And then his PRA, 22.5 over on Prize Picks. You're getting it for 20. So everything looks like it's on point except for his points. Haha. So let's just run through it. 12 points for Mark Williams. He's pushing this in more games than he's pushing 12 in fewer games, I should say, than he is actually going over. So going under quite a few times here. Does have that 18-point upside we saw back against Boston on the 20th. Rebounds are his strength. 10 rebounds is in his future tonight versus the Raptors. Assist. Not getting that shit. You're not going to get this on any book, but that's what his assists are. PRA looked better, minus 120 over. Slight juice on the over, but there is juice on the under as well, but not as much as you see for the over. Points and assists. So when we attack these points and assist lines for guys like Mark Williams, you know that you are basically saying that you want him to score 13 points, but you want to factor in that 0.5 in the event he does give you an assist, which is not impossible. He's good for assists. Like a game, he's averaging 1 assist over his last 10 games. But when you look at this line of 12 points and then you look at his points and assists set to 12.5, at least that's what it's showing now. Those are pretty much identical lines. He needs 13 to get over his 12 points. He needs 13 to get over points and assists. Why not take his points and assists and give yourself that extra cushion? However, his points and rebounds, you're not going to find that cushion because that shit's inflated. 21. So this is a double-double. This is saying that Mark Williams is set at a double-double, projected for what? 22 points and rebounds. So projected for the over matches what we see for the odds. That looks strong for Mark Williams as well. And then his rebounds and assists. Now this one is a little scarier. I know he's capable of getting you double-digit boards. I mean, in these games here, he's gone over by like 2, 8, 5. But he doesn't really dish a whole bunch of assists. We saw his game log. He's averaging 1. There are games where he gets you 0. So when you look at this, you might as well just be taking his rebounds at 9.5. That to me makes more sense because the upside for assists really isn't that high to where, oh shit, if Mark Williams only gets you 8 rebounds, it's cool because he's going to give you 4 assists. He's not. Maybe 1 assist. So I think his rebounds are in play. I think his PR is in play. And then his points at 12 are interesting just because you're getting it at the lower line on Prize Picks. So those are the 3 top for Mark Williams. Head-to-head matchup. No head-to-head matchup this season versus the Raptors. So digging into that doesn't really help us, but you do see his upside last season. He had 15 points against the Raptors back in April. So there's Mark Williams. Let's see what I miss. Points and assists, Mark Williams. Yeah, just went over that one. All right, cool. Max Strus PRA. Killian Hayes under 3.5 rebounds. Yeah, Killian Hayes under was popping. Trey, welcome in, by the way. Appreciate you being here. Randall over 14 RA. Draymond points. We went through all of Draymond's lines. ATM, Draymond and Steph Curry look amazing tonight versus the Thunder. They play them very well. Over the last 5 games, we're seeing a lot of green beans in those last 5 and 10 games last 5 games versus the Thunder. Pretty much all their lines are in play. Draymond looks good in terms of RA. Basically, most of his lines, except for points, are strong for Draymond. Let's see here. Strus PRA, Melton's PA, and Trey points. Let's see. Where are we at? We've been on for like an hour and a half already. Holy shit. Yeah, we're going to wrap this up like in the next few minutes. I didn't realize the time is flying by doing these live streams, but they are super fun. Thank y'all so much for stopping in and just hanging out with me this morning, this Friday morning. Really, really having a good time. Strus PRA against Miami. You thinking revenge narrative? Strus over his last 10, very good. 2, 4, 5. Strus over his last 5. 1, 2, 3. Strus versus the Heat. Not good. I know LeVert is LeVert still out? Let's see. Yeah, LeVert is ruled out, at least on this injury report he is. So we can take LeVert out. That does not add up to any matchups versus Miami with LeVert out, but we can still take a look at the last 10 games without LeVert in the lineup. So these 5 games here, because these were playoff games, finals. These 2 games are this season. So we'll look at the last 5. He's only had 5 games without LeVert in the lineup. He's gone over 3 out of those 5 games. So if you believe that LeVert being out of the lineup will open up increased usage for Max Strus versus Miami, which is it's a dog-ass matchup. Miami is tough. Then this over looks really good because these numbers support it, the odds support it, and his projections also support it. So Max Strus, if you want to create that narrative of LeVert being out, it's going to help Max Strus. This looks good for you, for sure. For sure. Let's see. Melton, PA, and Trey points. All right. These might be the last 2 we get to. I don't want to go too long on this live stream. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to work on building out a Flex Friday slip. And I will post that in the Discord. I will post that on my channel in the Discord. I'll share the link if you want to copy it. But it'll be there within the next hour or so. I really wanted to wait for fantasy points also. Those aren't available yet, but we'll look. I'll look into that and I'll start cooking some shit up. Hopefully it's edible. Let's take a look at Melton. Dude, Melton killed it last game. I don't know who suggested Melton. We went through a lot of plays on Wednesday, and we built out a nice 5-man and went 4 for 5. But we did a nice 5-man, and Melton went over that PRA real fast. So Melton PRA set the 20.5. But ATM wants to look at his points and assists. So just in case, PRA, there it is. Points and assists don't look as good, unfortunately. Now his 5 games look incredible. Matchup looks decent on paper. Projections favor the under, so the projections are lining up with the odds here. PRA looks a little better in terms of the odds. And then his points look slightly better. So just the difference in matchup makes up everything, right? Last game against Washington, green, 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 green. Positive odds, all that. This matchup against Atlanta, exact opposite. So matchups do matter. Now, we've seen that not play out because we've seen players against or players in bad matchups go off, but the matchup will always impact the odds. So that's why we're seeing different odds than what we saw against Washington. But there's Melton's Points, rebounds. We can look at his head-to-head on his PA. So one game versus the Hawks this season, he has hit the over on his PA. And then against the Hawks, he also went over PRA. He also went over PR. He also went over RA. He also went over points. So one matchup against the Hawks this season. If you feel that's enough to take the over, despite the odds saying the unders are in play, then you have that information to work with. But the math is saying that the books like the under on his stuff. Don't know why, but that is what the books say. All right. Trae Young points. We're already in the same game. Let's look up Trae Young, and then we'll look up Julius Randle RA, and then we're gonna end this stream. So Trae Young points, 27.5 versus the 76ers. They have his number when the line is set to 27.5. It's possible that some of these games were set to 26. It's possible that some of these games were set to 25.5. And if that's the case, this looks a little better. Anything below 25.5, I think is too low. I don't think you see Trae Young point props set to those numbers very often. But against the 76ers at 27.5, he has yet to go over that line. Over his last 10 games at 27.5, Trae Young has hit this in 6 out of 10 games, 60% hit rate over his last 10, and 4 out of his last 5 for an 80% hit rate. So I think it's safe to say that Trae Young is cooking a little bit. 29 is his projection. Kind of even odds here. You're getting minus odds on both ends. So points are in play, but that's a hefty amount of points for Trae Young against a team that he has yet to go over that line against. His PRA, same situation where you're getting like even odds. 3 out of his last 5. Head-to-head matchup, he's only averaging 38 versus the 76ers. Interested in his assists. This might be a good way. This might be a good under. Based off the odds here, head-to-head matchup versus the 76ers. One game this season, he did put up 13 assists. He put up 20 assists last year. So those are his assists, and then rebounds and assists for Trae Young. Sometimes you can find good lines on those. Last game they played, he went over this. Yeah, I hope he went over this. He had 13 assists, right? So there's Trae Young. Last one, Julius Randle over rebounds and assists. I feel like we did this one already. I know we went over Randle rebounds versus the Celtics. But let's do his rebounds quickly, and then we will dip out. So Randle, if you're getting it at 14 on Prize Picks, you're getting it at a lower line than what we're seeing on Props.cash. But at 14.5, the odds are in favor of the over, slightly over. This is what he's done against Boston last two games. Over his last 10, he's gone over this in 70%, and then over his last 5, he's gone over this in 60% of those games. Projected for 14.65, closer to 15 on his rebounds and assists. So been cooking over his last 5 and 10 games. However, his games versus Boston, he's doing that. He might be too busy scoring versus grabbing rebounds, or versus going over on his rebound. He's grabbing rebounds, but he's not hitting the over on that line. So maybe even look to his points as a possible play. Points look good. Game logs look great. So, all right, ladies and gentlemen, super long stream, 1 hour and 40 minutes. I appreciate everybody stopping in and just hanging out. Always like doing these live streams. I wish I was doing them a little sooner, but live streams are a little different than recorded videos. There's a lot of stuff for me to learn, and I'm still kind of feeling it out. But so far, so good. Really enjoy doing these live streams. I hope you all got something out of them. If I wasn't able to get to your question, just hit me up in the Discord. Send me a DM. We can talk there. Like I said, we got the props.cash bots in the Discord. You can use that as much as you want, totally free. So with that being said, if you made it this far, I hope that you did. Consider subbing up to the channel. Drop a like. Let me know what you like on the board. Consider sharing this stream, sharing my channel with somebody you know. And then obviously, last but not least, no matter what props you roll with, mine, anybody else's, I hope they respect the damn coin. Best of luck to you all. Until my next stream, until my next video. Be sure to check out the Discord again, because I'll be posting my Flex Friday slip in there as well. So all that, I wish you the best of luck. Chavez is out.